Today we'll talk about how to hire on Upwork. And you might be like,
what? Olga, are you kidding us? We're trying to survive here.
well, trust me, so am I. But sometimes even beggars like myself value time more than money. Or sometimes I just know that I can't do the job better than the person I'm about to hire. So this video will be useful for you if you want to hire on Upwork, if you want to brush up your recruitment skills, which is crucial for any IT business owner, or if you want to understand your clients more. It's a win-win. You learn to both pick up your talent wisely, and for IT outsourcing companies, you understand your clients better and see what they see when logged into Upwork. When you see the process from their point of view, you might understand them better and you might want to tweak your sales strategy a bit. So a brief breakdown on stages of hiring candidates on Upwork, and that is posting a job, shortlisting candidates, interviewing your candidates, hiring, and then supervising the process and receiving the results. And all of those stages have certain pitfalls that you should pay attention to. And let's start with the first one, and that is posting a job. And before we switch to the screen, I want you as a client think and clearly define the scope of your project and the objectives, the deliverables you want to achieve. Here's how my dashboard looks like from the client's perspective on Upwork. You can see my past jobs here and the freelancers I worked with. Now let's start with posting a job on Upwork. And the first step is to define whether it's a long-term or short-term project. And let's continue. Now let's start with a strong title. As a client on Upwork, you don't really need to try that hard, and I already have my translation here. Like I mentioned, you'd better prepare it all in ahead. So translate a novel from Russian to English. And let's start with job category. Next one is defining skills. Russian to English translation, naturally. If this person ever tried to write fiction, that would be a huge plus for sure. Let's jump to the next step, and that is scope of the project. And here is where you define the scope: large, medium, small. I would say mine is small. It takes about 1 to 3 months. And what level of experience it will need? I would say it's an expert. And now it finally allows us to jump to the next step, which is budget. I would go for fixed price, so I will just put $100 as a placeholder because I really don't know. I want to do it milestone by milestone, and we'll agree on the price for each milestone. And by the way, this is a tip for you if you're working on Upwork as a freelancer. Sometimes you might see the budget is like $1 or €100, but it's not really the case. You should read the description. Maybe the client will say it's just a placeholder. Next is description, where you should clearly describe what you need. And you should be preparing your description in advance. I'm practicing my own preaching, and I'm attaching the file with test translation, which is here, either this one or this one for test translation. Now I can review my job post. Let me do that. How I look. Translate a novel from Russian to English, fiction translation. I translate category, budget, professional needed, 1 person, and I can jump straight to posting the job. Let's see how it looks like when it's live. And you can see Upwork never loses its opportunity to rob you of your money. Be you a freelancer on Upwork or a client, it equally hates all of us. For a one-time fee, you can invite more talent. No, thank you. Now I can view the job post. Here's how it looks like. And I actually have 5-star rating on Upwork. I look like a nice client on Upwork, actually. I would apply. Now, invite freelancers. So here's Upwork advises you and it pushes you to invite freelancers before anyone else applies, which is a smart move for them because they actually want you to hire and to spend your money on the platform. And how they picked up those freelancers is above my understanding because obviously Jose and Lucas don't speak Russian. So basically posting a job on Upwork starts earlier than you actually open the browser because you need to prepare the test task and the description of your job before you log into your Upwork account. Not only should you be preparing the job description, but also you should think and specify the skills you want your potential candidate to have because Upwork will ask you all of those things, so think about them in advance. For example, if you need to hire a data engineer engineer, possibly it's not just any data engineer, but you're looking for someone with a specific tech stack. For example, you need someone who worked, say, with Pentaho or with Hadoop or with Google Cloud or with whatever, and not every data engineer has worked with that. After you've thought about all your skills, now think about how much money you're ready to spend on this person. If it's a project-based, or if it's a fixed-based, or if it's an hourly-based agreement, or even if you're looking to hire full-time long-term internally for a team. Because again, the Upwork will ask you to set a budget range for the project, so you might want to think about this in advance. And not only this, but also the timeline or the estimate for the timeline that you're looking to achieve. For example, if you need this project to be done in the course of the next week, which is unlikely, or by the end of the weekend, which is even more unlikely, think about all of those details in advance and before you go to Upwork. Obviously, creating an attractive job posting is a must. Yeah, the freelancers are pretty much hungry these days, but you also want to attract the serious types of freelancers who would not consider working with lame clients. So you should use a clear descriptive job title, provide detailed information about the project and the objectives you are looking for, list specific skills and experience required for the job, because sometimes you might be looking for someone really specific and you don't need to write the entire background of your company or your company values, who cares about that, but at least define the industry you're working in or the project's industry. And that would be helpful because some freelancers or some contractors prefer not to work in certain industries or have better experience in other industries, so that would be useful as well.
So here is how you see your freelancers as a client. And when I pick, for example, this one, the boy from Ukraine definitely knows Russian, and we will have the same language, we will understand each other perfectly. Oh, subtitles in Russian for movie. Obviously, she's a good fit. I'm sending her an invitation. I'm not changing anything in the automatic text. As a client, you can save talents for later. Let me look at Veronica, again from Ukraine. You see, I love her description. Like, as a client, I love her description because, again, I already see from the title that she's a serious person. Native Russian translator and writer, something I'm looking for. I'm just inviting her to apply for the job. So now here, when I will receive proposals, I will have them here, and then whoever will be hired will appear here.
Now it's time for screening and shortlisting candidates, and here you need to pay attention to their profiles and whether they showcase certain skills and experience you need for this position. Sometimes you might want to check their portfolios, but most importantly, you want to read all the customer reviews and feedback this freelancer received. Now, when it's time to conduct interviews, make sure to ask specific questions that you should have prepared in ahead. For example, if you're hiring for a DevOps job, then you might want to ask them specific questions about the CI/CD procedures or whatever. Example coding would be great to see. And if you're looking to hire for some full-time long-term position, then you might consider some logical questions for them. At least that's what my CTO likes to do. And then, of course, the thing you should pay very close attention to is their communication skills. And here I'm not talking about the grasp of language you both should be speaking, but also you should be evaluating their responsiveness and their adequacy. Say, if this person is really rude or unresponsive or dismissive or whatever. So if you're not comfortable working with this person, the problems might just pile up. Unless this is a really great specialist and you really need them to do the job, then you might risk it.
So I have already received some proposals. I sent 3 invites and all of them are uninvited. I mean, there is still time for them to reply, but typically what I noticed is that people who actually apply to your job are more interested in getting that job than those whom you invite, actually. So the first freelancer, she already attached a translated test task. However, she did not post it fantasy on top of her application as I asked to. Now the second one attached the test translation as well. However, again, she didn't include the fantasy on top of her application. Now the third person, obviously he is not a native Russian speaker, which is crucial when you translate fiction literature. And neither did he include the translated test task as I asked freelancers to. nor did he include the fantasy on top of his application. Thank you, that's a no. Easy decision. And now the last candidate from the list, he also included some translation, and he included the fantasy on top of his application. And we'll see what we get here. So now what I'm going to do is I'll download all of the examples and see which I like the most, and then I'll start the conversation with all of them and we'll negotiate the terms. After we define the terms and agree on the price, the next thing I will have to do is to just click this button and hire the freelancer I choose. I happened to like Mariah's test task the most, so that's why I'm messaging her and starting a conversation.
Now, if you're looking to hire someone full-time long-term or for a long-term project, you might want to check their references or negotiate the terms. Upwork now has new features of raising automatically the rate of freelancers.
Now let me show you why I hate Upwork. It's because of this. I need to hire a person for the first milestone, which is estimated at $30. The marketplace fee is $150. Contract initiation fee is $5. And estimated taxes $130, and it comes to a total of almost $38 for the milestone of 30.
And finally, what you might want to do is to set clear expectations and set the clear routine for the freelancer. Say where you will conduct your daily communications. I advise to do it through Upwork if you are working through Upwork, or maybe they require some VPNs to work on your server. And when it comes to further working with them, I recommend you monitoring progress constantly and regularly. If this is some minor job and if you do it, say, milestone by milestone, and those milestones don't take more than a week, which I recommend you to do, especially if you don't know the person, you want to make the first milestones as short as possible so that you could track their progress, their effectiveness, and to understand the quality of their work, because you don't want to make sprints, like typical sprints, 2 weeks, and then at the end of those 2 weeks, no job is done. Now, the final stage of your cooperation, if you're working on a fixed term basis or on a milestone basis, is reviewing and evaluating the results you got. This is another thing to pay attention to, because you might want to bespeak with these freelancers how many reviews you're allowed to make without paying them extra. For example, if this is something short, like translating an article, 2 or 3 reviews, you might agree on that. All the extra reviews you might want to make should come at extra pay, or you are parting your ways. But if you're satisfied with the results you got, I advise you strongly to keep in touch with this freelancer for future potential collaboration or with this contractor. Of course, give them some recognition, give them 5 stars, nice review, because as a client you will get a nice review and 5 stars in return. You want to have a good reputation at Upwork as well as a client, because yeah, hungry freelancers with $1 per hour rate would still jump at you even if your rating is negative, but serious freelancers might not want to work with you if they see at least 1 negative review. By the way, with some of my freelancers we became like long-term connections and we chat regularly outside of Upwork, not related to work even. Now, some extra tips for you here, and the first one, you should know what you are ordering. If you don't, you might end up being robbed of your money or overpay or not get exactly what you want. And even if you work with the most genuine freelancer on Upwork, if you don't set clear expectations, if you don't set clear goals and what you want at the end result, you won't get what you want. And the second tip of mine would be to know a little deeper what you are ordering, and I mean here in depth. For example, if I order some video editing or translation, or say audio coverage or whatever, or marketing or sales job done, I know about it and I can do that 100% myself. It's just I either don't have the time or I understand that this person could do it better. In case I post a job about something that I don't know nothing about, or where I'm not an expert myself. Say if I post a job about data engineering, I'm not a data engineer myself. I can't interview them in depth and I can't supervise them correctly. In this case, I advise that you have someone on the side to consult with. Like in my case, if I post a job about data engineering, I have my CTO to consult with. If I hire someone for a DevOps position, I have my husband to consult with. If I hired someone for some marketing campaigns done, I might want to consult about, say, the results that I got with someone I know, and I know quite a few marketers, so I have people to consult with in case I need it. If I can't supervise the quality of job being done on Upwork myself, I will find someone to consult about this. And if you didn't know, I have the entire playlist about working on Upwork as a freelancer or as a company. Go and check it out. Good luck, good hunting, and I'll see you there. Stay strong.